to put on your newspaper hat.
Ooh, baby.
Give me the headlines presented by Hyundai. And we begin with the streaking Miami Dolphins. They win again. They just started the year late. They didn't know exactly when the year was starting. So they've started playing, and they beat the Giants 20-9. Your headline for this game.
Fins up Phillips.
Ooh, fins up Phillips.
Jalen Phillips,
Jalen
right.
Phillips.
I mean, as you know, it was one of my favorite players in the draft, right? I mean,
Keji999 says Jalen Phillips playing like a top 5 pick. Good call on that one. So he had 2 sacks yesterday, had 6 sacks in the last 3 games, 8.5 for the season. That's a Dolphins rookie record. So Keji999 says, good job, Simms.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he was my number 1 edge player. I mean, he's a freak show. I think it will only get better. I really do. I would be shocked. But, you said it. They found their mojo on the defensive side of the ball. They got healthier there. That's allowed them to do, some of their crazy things. It wasn't pretty yesterday. It wasn't.
No.
I mean, really, the Giants controlled the early part of the football game and had a chance to, kind of put a lead. I mean, really, Mike Glennon in one of the first drives of the game, he throws a bad interception into double coverage. That was stupid. But the Giants were controlling, go down, go up 3-0. But, the Dolphins hung around, and they're just more talent. And then their defense, of course, just becomes a little bit overwhelming as the game goes on. So, I mean, between their defense and then, they're a little bit better of a running team than they were. I'm not going to say they're a great running team. And they've found the way they want to play with Tua, as you've heard me explain. I mean, watch the game. Again, it's a lot of different ways to throw the ball over the middle to Waddle and Gesicki. And then, hey, I got a one-on-one with Devontae Parker outside. I'll throw a fade jump ball. Let me see if he'll go get it. Put some nice touch on it. They go get it. That's really what their offensive formula is, but it's working right now.
Yeah, Tua's got 4 straight games with a 100 or better passer rating, the second longest streak in Dolphins history. Dan Marino did it 6 times in a row in his 84 MVP season.
Yeah.
So Tua's like Dan Marino.
That's
He's
right.
as good
this
as
is
Dan
where
Marino.
modern day stats are just stupid.
What do you mean? What?
Well,
that was a good stat.
again, I mean, we showed his spray chart last week. He didn't throw a ball more than 14 yards down the field. I mean, he didn't throw one ball. Every ball was short, dink and dunk. But the passer rating's too dependent on completion percentage. Like Dan Marino's 1984 6 straight games was laser beam 40 yards down the middle, laser beam 30-yard out route, laser beam 60-yard go route, laser beam 40-yard crossing route, laser beam post for an 80-yard touchdown. Like, it's just, there's not even a comparison there. That's why some of the stats in the modern day football are just stupid.
All right.
How you like that
so
shit?
You're not quite giving Tua the credit yet. I get the feeling here.
No, Tua.
He's
can
played
win
well
with
within
Tua.
that system.
You can win with Tua.
Is he like Jimmy Garoppolo? You can win with Jimmy? Kind of the same?
I think he's actually got some things I like about him more than Jimmy
Okay.
Garoppolo. I do. He's a better athlete. I think he's actually a little bit more of a gifted thrower as far as like different types of throws. I mean, his arm I think is as strong as Garoppolo's. He has more throwing angles. And we saw yesterday a few throws like down the middle that were crossers and things where, I mean, phenomenal touch and feel with his hand that I love about Tua. So you can win with him. It's just he's never going to be able to take over games like Rodgers or Allen or some of those great quarterbacks we talk about.
Jim Dye writes in, he goes, damn okay, New York Giants. Then he goes, ... Just kidding. The Giants' offense has 18 touchdowns this season, the same number as Jonathan Taylor. So they're neck and neck with Jonathan Taylor. That's good for the Giants. I don't think we need to take any time talking about the Giants.
No,
Sorry,
Pete. We've discussed it enough. It's just it's hard. Again, it's disappointing, definitely. But you play the Giants, you don't really have to worry about stopping the run, and then therefore they get into a passing game and they can't pass protect either. So it's like, oh, great. Hey, we can't do the other one, so we'll do the other one that we're really not good at either, and we'll do it even more.
Yeah.
And then it's tough sledding on the offensive side of the ball for them.
The Giants are saying right now, they're like, hey, guys, in the NFC East, we're supposed to all be bad together. I don't know what you guys are doing. We did it last year. We all agreed to do it again this year, but the other teams are not following along. Washington gets a huge win over the Raiders, 17-15, final second. So your headline for this one is?
So hot. Want to touch the Heineke.
Taylor Heineke does it. The magic.
Billy Madison ripoff right there.
Okay.
Yes, I know. You haven't seen that movie.
Whenever there's like a movie like that, like Billy
Right.
Madison,
Right.
I know the comments are going to be like, how has this guy not seen that movie?
Yeah, of course. How have you not seen that
Exactly.
movie?
Pete's saying that in my ear. This is
Right.
this is my life. I go, hey, have you seen this movie? And I go, no. And then they go higher pitch. It's
Right.
like 5 octaves higher than their normal voice. How have you not seen that movie?
Yes, right.
Exactly. That's my whole life.
Yeah, they're talking about Veronica Vaughn in the movie because she's so hot. They want to touch the hiney.
Heine has completed 70% or more of his passes, 4 straight games, longest active streak in the NFL. He's thrown it around, not necessarily that deep. That's okay. He almost did throw a pick 6 right at the end of this game, so he got a little lucky. But that's Taylor Heineke, a little bit lucky, pulling rabbits out of his rear.
It is. I mean, and again, it seems to be kind of at his best in those kind of like clutch situations. That's the one thing I give him respect for.
Right.
Yeah, dodged a bullet on that. Threw an interception earlier in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't his fault. Kind of got hit. The ball got tipped as he was throwing it. That ended up, letting the Raiders go down and kick the go-ahead field goal at the time with a little over the 2 minutes to go. But, Washington, hey, again, they're going to be a pain in the butt as we go here just because you could see the defense is stingy. Del Rio's gotten a lot better on that side of the ball.
Without Sweat,
Without Sweat,
Chase Young.
yes,
like,
I
how
know.
is that happening? It kind of shakes my belief that players matter.
Well, yeah, I know.
Right?
You shouldn't. They still got Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen in the middle who are really good.
Okay.
They do. They got a pretty good secondary. And to me, where they didn't do Sweat and Young justice early in the year, they put too much on them. I've said this a few times. They were very simple early in the year. Our front four will just dominate. We'll be simple in the back. Cover two, cover 3, man-to-man. The front four will get there. Now they're very versatile on defense and have gotten a little more exotic into you can't just I don't know what coverage we're going to get here. They're going to blitz, they're going to drop one. They're doing more of that type of stuff. That's giving their guys a little bit of advantage. So you take that, Ahmed, the defense playing that way, and then I think you look at they run the ball consistently every week right now.
Yep.
Not that it like kills you, but it's good enough. And Heineke makes a few pass plays. They're I think going to be in this thing, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
Then you got Brian Johnson in there, signed Tuesday, the 22-year-old off the practice squad of the Chicago Bears. 48-yard field goal to win it. For the Raiders, this is a disappointing loss. This has been a rough go for them. Tripod 2X says, why do we never know what Derek Carr we're going to see? Last week we got the gunslinger Carr. This week we got check down Charlie. Is it defenses that are forcing that or just who he is?
Well, it's the first off, the week before on Thanksgiving, it's the dumb Cowboys playing man-to-man every play. So the Raiders have plays to do that. One thing I could tell you from the Gruden offense, I mean, we used to love when people play man-to-man. In fact, at the end of my time with Gruden, you couldn't get anybody to play man-to-man against Gruden. Nobody would play it because he had a million different ways to pick, cross, and he was going to get people open to where, I mean, we would go weeks without going, we haven't had man-to-man in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like literally, like under 5 snaps of it. And the teams are reluctant to do that because they do have ways there. Washington, no. They're only going to be like a little smattering of man-to-man. And they're going to play a lot of zone coverages where they pass people off, and that's where it becomes dink and dunk. And that's where, again, I'd like to go back and see the film, but, yeah, they got to find ways to be more creative as far as getting bigger plays against zone. And at times, he can be a little too conservative against zone. Instead of like maybe, hey, just the pocket's clean. Pat the ball one more time. You got a 20-yard in cut. Don't be so quick to just throw the check down to Renfro for the 6-yard gain or Josh Jacobs out of the backfield. I think that's what people get frustrated by. Yeah, a little Derek Carr we can blame, certainly. But I think it's also, the offense has got to lend itself to being a little more aggressive in those situations as well.
He did show his arm strength on the last couple of plays of the game.
I know.
The second to last one is I do think they should have called pass interference. They did. We saw a jersey pull. It was pretty clear, right, on Jones deep. And I know they don't like to call it at the end of a game, but, I mean, that definitely affected that play.
It did. Well, the problem is, like what we said earlier on, if that was the first quarter, it gets called every time.
Yes.
If it was the second quarter or the third quarter, it's the start of the fourth quarter, it's still getting called. But now we're under 2 minutes, and all of a sudden, manslaughter's allowed in the secondary.
Let them play.
Right, and that's where I think coaches get frustrated, and, of course, players do. But, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Try to run your fastest and adjust to a ball with somebody grabbing your shirt. Tell me how it works. Again, a lot of the times, too, people go, well, it didn't really affect them that much. And they want to go, what? Like, how do you – of course it did.
Yeah.
Just because he's strong and he didn't look like he just, like, totally flailed and fell out of the way didn't mean it didn't affect him. and you're being pulled, and he wants to go to his right to catch the ball, you're affecting the ability to do that. So, yes, that should have been pass interference, and that's, again, goes into the referee problem we have in the NFL right now.
But then you could see it from the defensive back's point of view, where if they do call that, like he's been like trained to say like, all right, in the last couple of minutes, I can be a little more physical. with
No
the
doubt,
guys.
they know.
So,
they know. You're right.
And so
I'm not blaming them.
You can't
Certainly
really change it up on them last
No.
second. So Washington gets a win though. That was a
Ugly
close
defensive game there.
Ugly game, but they got the win for Washington. And the final game that we're going to talk about today, Eagles get the win over the Jets. Your headline for that is?
Ooh, hold on. I got to pull that up. Okay. You can be my wingman anytime.
I know that
Iceman.
one. Top Gun.
Yeah. Oh, look at him. Look at that guy right
Gardner.
there. The bombardier.
Against the Jets. You think he did that on purpose?
I would think there had to be something like that, right? They had to be playing into that. I mean, he is hilarious.
So here's the thing. Jalen Hurts is in trouble. Because wherever Gardner goes,
Yes.
fan bases fall in love with him, as they should.
They should.
He's a guy, high energy. You can tell he loves football, loves to win, loves to make a statement. He's his own man. He has a mustache. And he goes out there, and he's slinging it around. I don't think he threw an incompletion for, the first however many plays. He was 8 for 8 early on with 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. First incompletion.
He was on fire early.
Didn't come until the end of the first half. So Hurts out, ankle injury. Eagles offense doesn't miss a beat. They were playing the Jets, and so maybe that had something to do with it.
No, yeah, it does. But, I mean, listen, the one thing I could tell you Gardner Minshew adds to that offense as compared to Jalen Hurts is you certainly can get more out of the passing game with Gardner Minshew. You know, Jalen Hurts he's a little limited in his ability to dice people up from the pocket. That's a real thing. I'm not trying to be a hater. You know, he, of course, brings other strengths too. But, you know, the early on in the football game, man, the Eagles defense couldn't stop Zach Wilson and the Jets. You know, so that's where Gardner Minshew came in handy early on. You know, they weren't dominating the run game. I think they were getting some looks by the Jets defense where they're going, wait, it's Gardner Minshew. He hasn't played a while. They're going to run the ball. We're not going to let them run it. Let's make him prove it to us that he can beat us. And then, of course, he did. And he was on fire early. So he really helped them out through the early part of the game where I think the Jets overplayed the run. And, of course, the Eagles' defense wasn't playing that well, helped them keep pace to finally where they settled in. And, of course, the better team started to show itself, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles.
It was very strange. You wouldn't have picked this game as the game where both teams would score touchdowns on their first 3 possessions. That was very odd.
It was back and forth.
Touchdown,
Definitely wouldn't have expected that. No way.
So some positives for the Jets, even though they lose this game.
Zach Wilson looked really good.
You liked it.
I did. You know, again, last week against Houston, I liked it. It was a shaky start early, but as the game went on, again, I'll sit here and tell you, some of his good plays, I sit there and went, whoa, what, that ball is flying out of his hand. Whoa, he's quick and can run. You know, and yesterday he made a few throws like that too where I went, damn, that was a special throw. That was a special play. You know, again, they're not the greatest machine on offense right now, but I like the direction the Jets are going in.
Okay.
I do. And, again, battling yesterday, Eagles team who's got a little mojo going right now. And we know they're one of the best running teams in football. And that's kind of what happened in the second half. It's just they started to bludgeon them with the run game. And the Jets just couldn't get off the field or do anything. And, of course, their offense started to sputter out as we went along.
Yeah, the Eagles are 6-7 now. They are right in the mix of the playoffs in the NFC. And that does it for Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.